Okay, guys, gals, and everybody else, it is time for the end of DSP versus the Internet, episode 45. Before we get into the final React stuff, I just want to say thank you for a really great year. DSPReacts was a brand new channel, rebranding an old channel that was essentially defunct for a whole year. I'm happy that in the last year, I have an audience over here, albeit not a big one, but I have an audience over here for this kind of variety content. I like doing the variety content rather than just non-stop gaming. I hope that you have enjoyed the content on this channel. And by the way, if anyone has suggestions for improvement, new kind of stuff I can do, I am all ears always. Be sure to always let me know. You could always write me, you know, an email. You could always leave a comment on these videos. I'm open to all suggestions, okay? But now it is time for the final React video of the year. Let's see what you guys have in store for me.
At a minimum, there was serious tax dodging going on.
I'm telling you, don't put comfort. I told you nicely, eh?
Huh? That guy was very British.
This is Oxford Street.
Okay.
A 1.5 mile long shopping street that cuts the famous West End almost in half. Known globally for its flagship retail stores like Selfridges, HMV, and Topshop, but for tourists and shoppers returning to London as it emerges from the pandemic, there has been a curious change. Enter the American Candy Store.
Huh.
The sudden proliferation of these stores has taken many people by surprise, causing a stir online.
If you live in London or you've ever visited, you've probably seen stores like these.
And they're all open, as if there's some kind of essential service.
With an American candy shop every 250 meters, if not less, now punctuating a street with some of the most expensive commercial real estate in the world.
What?
People have become curious as to how these stores, many of which often appear completely deserted, are making enough money to pay the bills.
Well, I mean,
Is this true? A bunch of Americanized candy stores have opened up on major streets in Britain, and people are like, why are they there? Because no one shops there? That's really bizarre. I didn't hear about this. Okay.
People sell American-style sweets like Oreos and Jolly Ranchers, and they're all very colorful and play like blaring loud music. But the weird thing about them is they all look really, really similar.
We decided to go and see what the shoppers think.
Every one that we've passed looks exactly the same, the entrance.
I mean, I'm from America. It looks like they're full of American kind of candy and stuff like that.
I've actually heard that there's something to do with money laundering. I don't know if that's actually a thing.
No, I feel like they're just wasting their money. I feel like all the stuff that over there, they've expired.
The pace of change has been dramatic, with many of these seemingly independent stores cropping up in sites previously home to some of the UK's biggest companies.
Huh.
More and more popping up, and you know, if you're walking down Oxford Street.
So what is this, a conspiracy? It's a big conspiracy of why they're there?
It was, say, 10 years ago when it was full of, you know, Topshop and HMV, and that's kind of where I first kind of realized it, and it's just been such a...
So basically a lot of stores went out of business because they were outdated. Like a music store, they don't really exist anymore. No one buys physical music, so of course there's no need to sell the physical discs. There's no need to have storage for them. Those stores have gone away. So now these are popping up in place. Interesting.
Topic of conversation, you know, in the pub and stuff.
We're just approaching the HMV site here, which only just has become a candy store.
This was such an iconic store, and you can still see the famous little dog looking into the ground.
Oh, they didn't remove it?
Look at this really cheap signage, tatty looking offering inside. This is not adding to the attraction of Oxford Street.
We decided to take a look ourselves.
Why are they acting like it's undercover? What are the filming laws in the UK? In the US, you could film all the way up as long as you don't walk inside the store, which would be considered private property. If you're on public property, you can record whatever you want. You can record the outside. You could look in from the street. Maybe the laws are different in the UK. I don't know. This would not be allowed without permission. You wouldn't be able to film inside without permission.
10, 12, 12 pounds. 12 pounds for this. Sorry, sir, how much for these? 16 pounds? Yeah. 16? Yeah. You're kidding?
No, I'm serious.
You're kidding me, 16 pounds?
No, actually 16.99, basically 17.
Who's buying this?
No, the Twinkies are like 16.99. But
yeah.
if you really want them, I can make it 14.99.
Wait, what? They're selling Twinkies I mean, even if it was the whole box of Twinkies, $17 is expensive. Like, a pack of Twinkies should go for like $2-3, and if there's like 6 packs in there, okay, it's like 18. But if you're buying the box, you get like the group discount. But now he's wheeling and dealing. You heard what he said. If you really want them, they're cheaper, right?
How much for this? For this? Oh.
Pretty Pebbles.
For this? $9.99. How much? £9.99. £9. Fine.
But I feel like there's just too many of this sweet shop. They should put up a clothes shop. You get what I'm trying to say? There's more sweet than clothes, right? There's more sweet than clothes, right?
Yeah, there is. It's a bag shop, isn't it? Like, there's other stuff going on.
Money laundering. I think they're owned by like drug dealers and that.
Oh yeah?
That's what I heard anyway.
Oh, where did you hear that?
Just a mate. You know how these things go around.
It's weird. A lot of them. I mean, I don't understand how they can afford the storefronts or anything like that.
Right, the thing is kind of like in the United States you got Starbucks, right? And if you see one Starbucks, okay, great, but it's weird how Starbucks has a million locations everywhere because coffee is so popular in certain spots. But this isn't even like, oh, there's a Starbucks on each corner. There's a different candy store of a different brand, but they're all on the same street, back to back. How many people are buying candy? And how many people are buying candy for 15 pounds for a pack of Twinkies, right? That's pretty insane.
Making any money. Another similar phenomenon may hold the key. A significant number of these premises used to be home to souvenir shops that have already been investigated by the private eye in 2019.
Huh.
So, have you actually been into one of these shops?
Oh, I've been to loads of them, yeah. We did discover that, at a minimum, there was serious tax dodging going on. We discovered that some of the bigger shops weren't paying VAT on their supplies as they should have done. We even actually had a recorded conversation from somebody involved in the business saying that this was not clean money coming in from Afghanistan. Most of the shops were run by Afghan nationals, but we couldn't prove it. We never really proved that.
So are these American candy stores doing the same thing? It's hard to say, but according to an investigation by Time Out magazine, who spoke to Westminster Council, these shops are operated under a complex chain of leases, subleases, and licenses, which are usually highly questionable. Westminster Trading Standards say they're investigating complaints, while the council says it knows there's a problem.
If a premises is empty, then the owner of that premises is still liable for business rates. But clearly, if you have another occupier, then the new occupier is liable for business rates.
You are now, in fact, owed millions of pounds.
We are. While it's particularly bad here, it's happening across other areas of Westminster. It's something we've been talking to government about. Something needs to be done.
Whenever it tries to bring cases to court, council says the businesses are often dissolved quickly. But it isn't just business rates.
Westminster Council believes the properties may also be used to commit other civil or criminal offences. Either way, it's hard to keep up. One of these stores, American Food Shop, even mysteriously changed hands to a 21-year-old owner in May 2021 for just 1 month.
Many of the companies liquidated and re-established so quickly and so often that they never even file accounts with Companies House.
The vast majority.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to keep watching this, but that does kind of make sense. This is a year-old video, by the way. Kind of makes sense to me, right? Yeah, I mean, how on earth could these be legit businesses if they pop up immediately when they're questioned for anything, they go away. They change owners. Oh, let's get an investigation going. Oops, changed owners, so now I got to start over. And if no one's buying this, that's the other thing, too. If no one's buying the product, how are they in business? Makes sense. Like they said, oh, the property's actually being used for something else. You just don't see what it's really being used for because you're only seeing the storefronts. Wow. Interesting. And they're saying there's so many of them popping up. Now, this was a year ago. I wonder if anything else has been brought to light. Dark Mega says, this is my reaction when I see Arby's in the U.S. Arby's does pretty good here, at least the ones that we've seen in our area. We had one a block away that was actually quite popular. It got closed down by the health code, and they had to permanently close. Sucks because we actually like Arby's, and now we can't eat there because there's the other one's like way too far away. But anyway, interesting. That was an interesting thing. I wonder if there's a follow-up on this. You know, I wonder how many more videos are in the playlist, because since we are getting to the end of the year here, and we only have a few more videos left that we can watch, I think I might want to pick a few that I want to watch right out of the playlist. So if you guys can give me a second here, hold on. Oh my god. Look what showed up in my related, of course. Things that we literally just watched. Angry Video Game Nerd for some of the videos I watched this year. Hold on. What I want to see is, can I get to the playlist and can I pick ones I want to watch? Where is the playlist? How do I see it? What the fuck? This is weird. I hit play all, but it won't show me the fucking playlist. Oh, maybe I have to do that. Hold on. Oh, I'm staring at the playlist right now. Oh, wow. We actually saw almost all the videos. We only skipped like the first 2 or 3 that were submitted. So, skimming through, because I know there were some good ones nominated for like the end. We already did kind of a year in review video, so I really don't want to do that. Worst Christmas video games of all time. I don't really want to watch Christmas right now. We only have like 10 minutes left, and I wanted to watch something that's like good for the end of the year. Well, first of all, I want to watch this. Hold on. Hopefully we can watch this. So many people told me to watch this movie, and I haven't seen it yet, of course, that I want to watch the trailer. It's 2 minutes long. If we have to pause the trailer, we will. So many of you told me that Godzilla -1 is a great movie, right? So I want to at least watch the trailer with you and tell you my thoughts, because I haven't seen anything out of this. Let's see. Can I pause it? Oh, shit. Of course I skim ahead. Okay. I'll pause it and then unpause it so we don't get copyright claimed here. So if it's called Godzilla -1, does this mean this is supposed to be a prequel to the original Godzilla movie? Which is weird, because in the original Godzilla movie, they didn't know about him, and he's revealed for the first time. So then how did they know about him beforehand? This is so weird to me. I don't know. I don't get the whole idea of -1. I don't understand what the title means. So crazy, highly rated movie. The movie made insane amounts of money. Is it still in theaters at this point? I think it is, right? It's done so well. So, pretty awesome. They literally say this in every movie. He's an unknown organism. He's had like 700 movies. You don't know who he is yet? Alright, okay, how is she surprised? There is a ginormously huge monster that's been walking through the city, destroying it behind you. Right? How did you not hear this until he was a block away? Right? Were you deaf? I mean, how did you not hear that thing coming? You would have heard that thing when it was on the other side of your country coming for you, right? I'd say Godzilla looks pretty good, right? That's all CG. It looks pretty good. Oh, look at that. So wait a minute. This is not Shin Godzilla? Because in Shin Godzilla, which I only saw a couple scenes from, what's revealed at the end, they do an extreme close-up, and they actually show that some of the spines on him are actually mutated humans, right? That, like, I guess what they're saying is because of nuclear fallout, somehow he's a mutation. It's actually humans became him. It's the weirdest thing. I don't think it's ever explained, but it's supposed to be like the horror ending shot of Shin Godzilla, that his spines are like fucking humans fused together, and it's crazy, like horror. Like, what the hell does that mean? And it was never explained, right? It's called -1. Humanity in Japan went to 0 after we dropped the bomb. With Godzilla after the bomb, humanity is now at a -1. What? Then why isn't it called Humanity -1? Why is it called Godzilla -1? I don't know. Anyway. I don't know. He kind of looks similar to the American Godzilla, does he not? He's kind of like a hybrid. He's a hybrid of the modern American Godzilla and the Godzilla in the suit, I think. Well, this is a spoiler. I guess he's gonna shoot off his nukes. His spines come out in this one.
GODZILLA. Minus one.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. I don't know. I almost feel like, sadly, it's going to be an overhyped movie. When I see it, I'm not going to like it as much as everybody else. It seems all right. You know, it doesn't seem bad, but it doesn't seem good either. It seems like it's the same thing again. That's kind of my problem with a lot of these movies. It's always the same thing. It's like, so it's the first time they run into Godzilla again. They don't know how to fight him again. You know what I mean? Like, again? Really? Again? I don't know. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I when it does show up, I will give it a look. Like, when it does actually show up on, like, I think that'll be on, like, Max. I will watch it. But I'll reserve my true judgments until we see it. Let's put it that way. I don't want to jump the gun. We don't have much time left. Oh, this is cool. I was wondering about this.
Remember Vimeo? Back in the
We were just talking about this because we were watching, you know, the video about the history of the internet, and I remember I said, oh, look, YouTube always is at the top because there's no competitors. There was Blip TV, there was Vimeo. This is a video about what happened to Vimeo. It's only 6 days old. I think this will be our final video. All right, let's watch it. What happened to Vimeo or Vimeo?
late 2000s and early 2010s, if you searched for a video on Google, you would see a few results from Vimeo and Dailymotion. Personally, I always thought of Vimeo as just a YouTube copycat that wasn't nearly as popular. But it turns out that Vimeo was and still is way more popular than you might imagine. In fact, Vimeo has a total of 230 million users from over 190 countries, out of which 90 million are active every month. Vimeo also boasts 60 million content creators and a video catalog that is growing by as much as 900 million videos per year.
It's all bullshit. I guarantee you that's all nonsense. None of that is true. I guarantee you it doesn't sound right at all.
But this sizable user base is pretty much the only thing that Vimeo has going for them, as everything else has turned against them. Basically, just one look at their stock will tell you everything you need to know. Since going public in 2021, it's been straight down for Vimeo, who has lost 93%.
Down by 93% value since they went public in 2021. Oh my god. Dude, they were valued at $56. Now they're valued at $3.73. Holy shit. That's a straight up tanking.
Percent of their market value, which has dipped down to $625 million. At this point, they're almost trading at book value, which isn't all that much lower. Vimeo has a total of $610 million worth of assets and $243 million worth of liabilities, so their net asset stands at $367 million. If we subtract that from Vimeo's current market valuation, we'll see that the business portion of Vimeo is only worth $250 million. For perspective, YouTube pulls in that much revenue every 3 days.
Right.
Seeing this, I don't think you'd be surprised to see that Vimeo—
Wow, almost 20% chance that they're going to go bankrupt. Look at that. It says, within 24 months, given its fundamentals and market condition. Wow.
has a bankruptcy probability of 25%
What the hell
over the
happened
next
to
24
them?
months. Given this bleak situation, Vimeo has been cutting resources and staff, but this has only made the platform worse, which has turned the community against the company, the last thing they had going for them.
So, this person's personal complaints. I count 3 different window options to view your videos, edit preferences. The new search function is a bummer. It searches in your videos first when pressing enter. Saving preferences doesn't work properly. Feels like your changes aren't saved. Your personal profile is a pain in the ass to arrange. Updating a thumbnail is buggy. Customer service is abysmal. Customers complain. I'm gonna keep going. That was always the problem for me when I used Blip TV, and this was 13 years ago. Blip TV was easy to upload to, but it just didn't have the features of YouTube. They didn't even have working playlists. That was something they were designing when I started using the site. It's like, you don't have a fucking playlist so I can play my videos in order on your website? Like, what gives? That's insane.
So Vimeo is in this super precarious situation where they still have nearly 250 million users, but all they have to show for it is a company that's slowly bleeding towards a bankruptcy and an increasingly frustrated user base.
Who uses it? Like, my question is, who uses Vimeo or Vimeo, however you say it? What is the use of their videos? Everyone watches shit on YouTube or embedded videos from sites like Twitter, X, or Facebook. I don't know of anyone who puts their videos up there. So how do they have so many users? That doesn't make sense.
You know what the kicker about all of this is? Vimeo was never the YouTube copycat.
They came out first.
Actually the OG YouTube,
yes,
having launched a couple of months before YouTube.
Yep.
So here's the tragic fate of Vimeo, the OG YouTube. Taking a look back, the story of Vimeo traces back to late 2004 to two web developers named Jake Lodwig and Zach Klein.
Why do their glasses look fake?
Neither of these guys were some sort of tech wizards that dropped out of Harvard or something. They were just modest software engineers working at a company that they thought was fun and lighthearted, College Humor.
Magorosan says it's more short films and artistic films on Vimeo.
Was back when people actually used to watch TV, and this one SNL clip about this singer Ashley Simpson was garnering a lot of attention.
Oh god.
Basically, Ashley missed her entry on live television, which made it painfully obvious that she was lip-syncing. She tried to play it off as no big deal by dancing, but this was unfortunately the end of her singing career.
Yeah, that's right.
The silver lining of the situation...
Wasn't she Jessica Simpson's sister? And then after that, when that one gaffe happened on SNL, which I still remember to this day, that was it. No one cared about her ever again. They just stopped buying all her music, which is crazy.
Is that this event is what also gave rise to Vimeo. You see, the day after this incident, the video clip would go viral on all sorts of platforms, one of which was College Humor. Jake and Zach saw this explosion firsthand and decided that it would be neat to create a platform dedicated to tagging and sharing short-form videos just like this. So they whipped together a site and came up with the name Vimeo, which was a combination of the words video and me. The website would go live soon after in November of 2004, but that was pretty much it. From there, the website would just organically grow through word of mouth, while Jake and Zach focused on helping scale College Humor. It wasn't until nearly 2 years later that the duo would really look back at the site. You see, in August of 2006, Barry Diller, the founder of Fox and USA Broadcasting, would make an acquisition offer for the parent company of College Humor, Connected Ventures. And during the due diligence phase, his team would come across Vimeo. They didn't think much of it and offered to buy out everything for a total of $26 million. Just a couple of weeks later though, a news bomb would drop from Google. Google was gonna acquire YouTube for $1.65 billion. Diller immediately realized that he had just accidentally struck gold and would tell everyone at Connected Ventures to go all in on Vimeo with Jake and Zach at the lead. By this point, YouTube had already become the sort of mass market video sharing platform, so instead of going after popularity, Jake and Zach decided to go after quality. As such, they would focus their efforts on better curating and offering a better creator and user experience. One of these efforts was bringing HD streaming to online video. In fact, in October of 2007, Vimeo would become the first online video sharing platform to support HD streaming out of the box.
Interesting.
But not all was great at Vimeo. As Diller became more and more concerned about making Vimeo successful, he would assert more and more influence over the company. For example, he would implement a traditional corporate structure like he had at his media companies and bring in a bunch of his trusted associates. But this simply created a larger and larger rift between the original Vimeo team and the new members. Eventually, this tension would blow over and Jake would decide to leave. But before he could, he would actually get fired in late 2007. Just a couple of months later, Zach would also leave the company, and ever since then, it's only been downhill for the company.
Huh. So they get bought out at a time when video sharing is becoming huge, and everyone wants to have a place to put up video. They were already there, just weren't really big. And they got bought out by a big company for a ton of money, so they became rich. But then they never really did anything, you know, they just tried to basically make it so that they'll have features first before YouTube, but they never got ground doing it. They never, like, got traction. And then they left the company. So, and that was, what, 2008? So what the hell happened? How are they ever... I don't get this company at all. It's very weird.
With the founders out, Vimeo would decide to go all out on a complete redesign of the platform. They wanted the video player to be the central focus of any page, unlike YouTube. They would also implement a lot of restrictions around what could and could not be uploaded to Vimeo. Essentially, they only wanted high ROI content, which was shorter videos that could appeal to a broad audience. And this tunnel visioned goal led to some pretty odd choices.
Like, I remember when I was doing playthroughs back in the day, and I was trying to play, what was it? Dante's Inferno. And YouTube would not accept it because Dante's Inferno not only had extreme gore, which I guess YouTube was okay with, but it had nudity and sexual content. There's a whole stage dedicated to lust, one of the 7 deadly sins. And there's towers of penises in the background. There's enemies whose boobs are just out. Okay? Now, none of it is actually... There's no actual sex in the game. It's just nudity. But there's lots of gore. It plays like the original God of War games, right? YouTube didn't want it back then. This was what, like 2009? YouTube didn't want the videos. It was like, no, reject. It rejected my videos and blocked it. Said, oh no, this is too adult oriented. Of course, this is before the era of monetizing and all of that. It was just, they didn't even want the raw videos, right? So I think I went to like Dailymotion and Vimeo and I tried to upload the playthrough, and it just didn't work. Like, I tried, and the videos, first of all, like one of them went, like, I think I had like 10 videos. One of them worked, and like the other 9 didn't work. Like, they would upload, but they never processed. And then I think some of them said they were outright rejected. And I think this is why. What he's saying is that they got like picky about what they wanted on their site. They allowed you to upload whatever you want, but then once it's uploaded, like, someone had to review it. And if, you know, if they didn't like the content, they would reject it. I think that's what happened. Is I was trying to get it on another site, and they rejected the playthrough. So YouTube didn't want it. Vimeo didn't want it. No one wanted Dante's Inferno. Today you could definitely play it, but probably you'd have to mark it as like 18 plus, and it would probably be all demonetized because it has excessive gore and nudity in it.
For example, starting in 2008, they would ban all
gaming. Starting in 2008, Vimeo bans video game clips for lack of creative expression. There you go. Yeah.
Content. The reasoning was that gaming content tended to be long and take up a lot of resources, while only appealing to a niche group of returning viewers. They did eventually lift this ban in 2014, but this gave YouTube a full 6 years to blow up in all sorts of niches that Vimeo creators couldn't even post about.
Right.
By this point, there was no catching up to YouTube, so Vimeo would double down on trying to appeal to indie filmmakers and creatives. For example, in 2010, they would launch the Vimeo Festival and Awards program. This was basically a competition for rising filmmakers to show off their work and to gain exposure. Around the same time, they would introduce 4K downloading support, and in 2015, they would launch 4K streaming support. Vimeo also boasted far less compression than YouTube in order to better protect the creator's original vision. But while these efforts were able to build a strong base of creatives, Vimeo was aiming for much more than just that. So in late 2016, they announced their plans to spend tens of millions of dollars on creating original in-house content to compete against Netflix. If that sounds like a crazy out there idea, it was, and thankfully they didn't go too far off the deep end before calling it quits just 1 year later. But this left Vimeo back at ground zero. They needed a new way to pivot and continue growing. But with competing against YouTube and Netflix directly being off the table, they really had no direction, until they talked to a rising leader named Anjali Sud. Sud was a UPenn and Harvard graduate that was currently serving as the head of global marketing for Vimeo. And Sud had a completely different vision for Vimeo. Instead of being a consumer business, what if they became an enterprise business? There were a lot of businesses that were left behind by the age of the internet. So what if they helped these businesses create promotional videos and get feedback before sharing it online? With not much to lose, Vimeo's board would approve the pivot and place Sud as the new CEO of Vimeo in July of 2017.
Well,
Sud
you know
would
what
go
happened.
on to
You know why
rebrand
this just
Vimeo
happened.
as a SaaS platform and release a slew of editing and review tools.
Oh, I'm sorry, and I know a lot of people always give me shit for this, but this whole Ivy League facade of, oh, I went to an Ivy League school, so, you know, I'm super smart. The people who go to Ivy League school are of a class who don't live with the rest of people on this planet. They're rich. How do you think they got there? They're either, they can afford that tuition, or they're a legacy, or, you know, they're one of the insanely lucky people that are there for the affirmative action admissions and things like that. The people who go to those universities don't live in reality with everybody else. They're an upper echelon of like corporate Americans, okay? She went to Harvard. You know what that tells me? She has absolutely no experience whatsoever with anyone who actually would be using video sharing services for any kind of use other than people who are filthy rich. She doesn't even understand why YouTube's popular or nothing. Let's change Vimeo into a site that's only going to appeal to people who run corporations. What? What? You have a multi-million, if not billion-dollar site for video sharing, and you're going to limit it to be used for corporations to make PR shit. What are you talking about? How is that going to make money? What are you speaking of, you idiot? You tremendous buffoon. That will never work. But, oh, but she's from Harvard, and, you know, what the fuck? Dude, like, seriously. Like, what on earth are you... Just, there's no logic to that. From an outsider who, like, uses video sharing, who uses these sites, you know what's popular. You know what works, right? It's not, I made a corporate video. How many corporate videos have gone viral on the internet, guys? Right? It made anyone any money. Oh, well, this will be just... Why do you need a multi-million to billion-dollar video sharing site to just corporations to make this content? Like, what are you speaking of? There's nothing there. There's nothing between the two ears besides this person being told their whole life they're a super genius because their family's rich. So, congrats. You made the worst possible move for the company, and I'm not shocked to hear that what's about to happen, that they go public and they lose all their company's value.
She would also complete multiple acquisitions that brought in tens of millions of new users to Vimeo. For example, in early 2019, she purchased Magisto, an AI video creation service with over 100 million users.
But by the way, this is all money they're not making. They're not making money to spend. This is just the money of the megala corporation that bought them out, spending even more money, right? It's not like, oh, we're the super popular site making all this money. We're using our profits to buy this stuff. This is just more money being pissed away over and over.
And in late 2021, Vimeo would purchase yet another AI-based video creation platform called Wibbits. While this was a rather unexpected direction for Vimeo, it seemed like things were paying off. Enterprise customers quickly became Vimeo's fastest growing segment, accounting for the vast majority of the company's revenue. Their user count was also exploding thanks to the pandemic, reaching over 200 million by late 2020. But the reality was that Vimeo was a lot more fragile than any of these numbers suggested.
And now the crash, the great collapse. I mean, let's be honest, you can't really greatly collapse unless you were big, and they were never big. So really, the great collapse is kind of a misnomer here. But
one key point that we have yet to discuss is how exactly Vimeo makes money, which turns out to be the company's biggest shortfall.
Oh shit.
Naturally, you would think that Vimeo makes money off of ads just like any other video sharing or social media platform. But Vimeo actually shows no ads at all. Given that Vimeo targeted a higher-end user base of filmmakers and creatives, they didn't want to bog down the platform with a bunch of ads. And as such, the only way that Vimeo makes money is from creators and viewers directly paying them. Creators and businesses have to pay a fee based on how many videos they upload and what features they want. And Vimeo also gets a 10% commission on any money that users are willing to support creators with. It's a pretty straightforward model, but it's not all that profitable.
And how would a creator make money with that model? Think about that. If you're going to upload your content to Vimeo, you have to pay to upload it, and then you have to hope that people who watch your content are going to donate to you so that you can make any money on it. You know, if I upload a video to YouTube under the partner program, I'm at least guaranteed to make some money on ads. It may be almost nothing, but I make something, and I didn't spend anything to get that upload on the site. They're asking for your investment first before you even have the promise of getting anything back from your own viewer base in contributions. So not only do you have to pay to use the site, then they take 10% of what you make. So imagine that. Imagine if every video I had to upload to YouTube, I had to pay to upload, and then they take 10% of the profit I make from you guys crowdfunding me. They take that, and that's how they operate. That's not even competition to YouTube. There's zero reasons why anyone would upload to Vimeo over YouTube besides you're banned from YouTube. That's about it. Or if you're corporate, right? If you're corporate and you're using it for corporate purposes, that's different. But a common user, a common creator, would never use their site, ever. That is the worst model I've ever heard of. It's incredibly stupid.
In fact, despite
this is the CEO, this genius knows what she's doing, right? Harvard graduate. You fucking idiot.
over 200 million users, Vimeo was only pulling in a little more than $400 million per year, or barely $2 per user per year. For perspective, YouTube pulls in closer to $11 per user per year, and Facebook pulls in over $20 per user per year.
Wow.
And given that video storage isn't exactly cheap, especially uncompressed video storage, Vimeo has never really been profitable.
Told ya!
Throughout most of Sud's leadership, she just raised a bunch of money to make up for this disparity. For example, in 2020 she raised $150 million, and in 2021 she raised $300 million. But
so all these corporate bigwigs do is they go around advertising at conferences and things to rich people saying, here's how we're going to use our company to make money, give us the money, invest, and you're going to make your money back, and in spades you're going to make 2, 3, 4, 5 times your money back. And a lot of the times it just doesn't pan out. It's a gamble and it just doesn't work. So that's what happens. She's the new CEO. All she literally did was go around the world, promised all these rich people stuff, and then took all their money and didn't pay any of it back. Wow, that's a Harvard graduate. Amazing.
This peaked in mid-2021 when she decided to take the company public at a $10 billion valuation. The harsh reality was that investors simply didn't care about investing in a second-tier video streaming platform, especially one that was losing money when they could just invest in Google or Netflix. On IPO day itself, Vimeo would fall 13%, and it's only been downhill since then. As such, Vimeo has very much started focusing on turning a profit, which has led to some pretty unpopular decisions. On one side, they've been cutting resources, which has led to widespread buffering issues. It also seems that Vimeo's UI is starting to feel dated, and their video creation has very much fallen behind industry standards, something that they used to lead. But likely their most controversial decision by far was jacking up prices for content creators, especially their most popular and active creators. In some cases, creators were expected to pay thousands of dollars more just to keep their content on Vimeo. While extremely unpopular though, these drastic measures have allowed the company to barely become profitable. They're currently pulling in $8 million per year, but at what cost? They're basically stuck in no man's land with a bunch of angry users and no real way to move forward. Sud has since been forced to step down and has been replaced by a long-time cloud executive named Adam Gross. Given that Vimeo has been able to achieve profitability, I don't see them going under with Adam. But with that being said, it's also hard to see any sort of bright future ahead for Vimeo, which is quite a shame given that they were the OG video streaming platform.
So, the moral of the story here is, sometimes you get lucky. In this case with Vimeo, they didn't really intend to be popular at all. This was just, hey, we saw this clip from SNL of Ashley Simpson making a big mistake. So let's have a video platform where people can upload those kind of clips. They didn't have any model for profitability, nothing. And just because video sharing at the time was blowing up, and YouTube was going to be huge because Google was buying them out, some other rich bigwig said, oh, I want to buy this video sharing platform. And at that moment, they became prominent because, boom, they have corporate backing by this giant company. But literally in their entire history, they never actually found a way to be profitable or make them a competitor to anyone else. They had a couple ideas. The ideas don't work. They put someone in charge who's a complete buffoon, despite being a Harvard graduate. Wow. No wonder, because I was wondering, like I told you guys, I remember uploading 1 or 2 clips of Dante's Inferno to Vimeo, and I think only one uploaded. That was it. And I think that was before I don't think you had to pay for it. Maybe it was Dailymotion, but I think it was Vimeo that I uploaded it to. But that's why you don't see anyone popular on there. Who wants to pay for the uploads? And then to see buffering issues with people being able to access the site and find content, right? So they basically are a worthless site. They literally should not even exist. They never should have been popular. They never should have had any kind of money behind it. Just some rich idiot bought it, not knowing what the hell he was doing, and it's flubbed around for the last 20 years, and it's a waste of everyone's time. Very interesting. All right, guys, that is it for the final React show of 2023. I hope that you all had a great year with me here on DSP Reacts. This certainly will be the last piece of content you see from me here until 2024. It's been a wild ride with all the different things that we tried on this channel. And like I said, if you have any input, by all means, send it my way. Leave comments on this video or on the channel itself. I'd love to hear what you think about the future of this channel. But in the meantime, thank you all for enjoying my reactions to clips, long-form reacts, tier makers, and all kinds of special stuff that we did on this channel this year. I hope that you'll be back in 2024 for more. For those who are members, thank you for your support, and I certainly hope that you will join me in the new year and submit clips. I'll be posting up those threads so you can submit clips tonight. All right, everybody? Thank you so very much. I will see you all in the new year. I'm out of here. Peace out, and be safe. I hope you have a prosperous 2024 along with me here on DSP Reacts, and I'll see you next week. Peace out, everybody.